the judges to 50. Now it is 70 in the High Court. There's a bill in Parliament which is going to be passed, I think, around next month, increasing the Court of Appeal from 14 to 30.
Okay.
And
are these people available? Are there courts available even in the rural areas?
there are courts available. Each county under the new constitution is going to have a high court. So there will be 47 high courts, when previously there were only 8 high court stations in each province.
In each province.
So I believe with additional manpower and the courts in 47 counties, delivery of justice is going to be very, very swift. And it's a question of time. You will see the Kenya judiciary doing wonders. I have no doubt, especially under the leadership of the new Chief Justice, who is committed to the rule of law.
And to segue onto that, yes. My question about the littlest of the people, yes, and the rule of law treating everybody equally. The big hot issue right now in Kenya is the assistant Chief Justice infringing on the rights of a security guard. The accusation is that the security guard asked to frisk her because it's the normal procedure for any shopping center, any institution that you're getting into, because of security reasons. Al-Shabaab is threatening Kenya. Security reasons. You have to be frisked. And the security guard asked to frisk the Assistant Chief Justice, and she, Ms. Baraza, and she is purported to have accosted the security guard. What is the chances that this security guard will get her due process and justice?
Patrick, the problem with this issue of the Deputy Chief Justice is that the matter is sub judice, as we say in law. A tribunal is, I hope a tribunal is going to be set within 14 days from the time that she was suspended. So I would rather we do not discuss it, because if there's a tribunal, it means more or less it is in a court. A decision has to be made after listening to all the witnesses. And for me to make a comment on whether the guard is going to get justice, I think that would be prejudicial.
But on the general, yes, getting justice does not necessarily mean that she is going to win or lose. I think my question is in terms of the law being the law, and the law being equally applied to everybody. As a person who is very familiar with the justice system in Kenya and an authority in the justice system in Kenya, just on the larger issue of, are we at a point now that this person, whether found guilty or not, whether her case will be found valid or not, that's not what I'm asking. What I'm asking is, do you think that given the whole circumstance, justice will be done? Yes, whatever the outcome is.
You must have heard the Chief Justice saying nobody's above the law. So, if that being the view of the Chief Justice, and being actually the top lawyer in the country, the top judge in the country, sorry, it goes without saying that justice will be done. Because we all take the cue from the Chief Justice And he has said nobody's above the law. So if there's enough evidence, then the law will take its course. So I think there is no reason for doubting that justice will be done.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it will be done.
Now, and the
What
reason
I
I
cannot
asked
say is which direction it will take.
it will take.
That one I cannot know because I have no evidence.
Sure.
Yes. I cannot go by the newspaper writings about things that cannot be evident. Whoever is supposed to be in that tribunal will have to listen and weigh the evidence on the other side and also on the other side and come with a sound judgment and give reasons for it. And that is what we call justice.
And the reason I asked this question, and I forgive me for going back into it, is that precedents, the society for which Kenya is, has been a very regional society, meaning that every region looks at such appointments as belonging to a region. We've seen, there have been reports of the Assistant Chief Justice coming from the western part of Kenya. There has been chatter from the people from western Kenya, especially in authority, kind of pointing to the fact that there might be a witch hunt here, or that this case should probably be not be taken that seriously, because this, if she is found guilty, the Assistant Chief Justice is found guilty, then the next action would be that she resigns her position, or she is, and therefore taking away a position from Western Kenya. This is historic in the Kenyan society, where such appointments are looked at as regional. It may not have been the case this time because she was vetted among many people, but that psychology is still with people. How does and I don't know whether how does the system now assure people that the powers that be, the elite that is advocating for, who seem to be advocating for her, that will not affect the outcome? Because tribunals are made of people, and those people may have interest, influence or no influence.
I think the judiciary today is very different from the judiciary of yesterday. Under the judiciary, under the new Chief Justice, believe me not, justice will have to be done. The new Chief Justice is somebody who I'm very conversant with. I've known him for many, many years. And I'm very comfortable working under him. He was a very reasonable man, liberal. He's a very good thinker, very deep thinker, and somebody who has quest for justice. All this political hulabaloo that you hear about from Western Kenya, I do not think they are going to affect the outcome of this matter. It will not. And I'm sure that tribunal will be set, and the people who are going to man it will be people who are time-tested. Because for a Deputy Chief Justice, you cannot give a tribunal, you cannot set a tribunal made of junior people. They must be very senior people. And if now they breach their mandate, that will be upon them. It is just like a judge who's given a good case, but he destroys it. He releases somebody when there's evidence of convicting. That will be their own problem. But so long as the policy, the current policy of the judiciary, so far as I know, justice will prevail.
Okay.
Yes.
one other thing that we definitely have to touch on is we are in an election year in Kenya. And there is back and forth of when that election will be held, whether it will be held in December. The whole commission was here sometime back and explained the process. And although in the Constitution it says the election should be held in August, they gave a timeline which would not meet the August deadline. And so the conversation has been for December. But recently there's also been a conversation of March of 2013. Now, on the other side, we also are looking at, and these are two questions probably in one, we are looking at possible presidential candidates who are at the ICC currently, who may face charges of abuse or promoting violence during the last general election. From a legal standpoint, how does this play from a legal standpoint in terms of all these things that are happening, the election, what would happen if these people are found to be, that there's enough evidence for them to face prosecution? Give us a sense of how the legalities, both international and the local, intertwine here.
The ICC as a court will have to give directions in the case, the way forward, whether the so-called Ocampo 6 will stand for elections or not. So I do not think that I'm in a position to fathom how they're going to rule on this matter. But there are two things that they can happen, two scenarios. One, they can rule that if they rule that they have a case to answer, in which case they will stand trial, then they may not stand for the elections. That could be the direction of the ICC. Another scenario is that the ICC can say, yes, you have a case to answer, but we'll try you, but it doesn't stop you from pursuing any political ambition you have. That is the second, like I said. So really the matter is in the hands of the ICC. And I think I would be doing myself a disservice if I now give you my own opinion in a matter where I am I'm not in a position to give. I wish the matter was before me,
right,
so that I can tell you which direction it would take. I would give you scenarios. In this way I would do this, in this way I would do this. But it's a tricky situation. It's very tricky. And since it is next week, why don't we wait for that day?
Okay, we shall see.
Let us wait and see how we handle the matter.
Okay. You are now, and veterans in law, and I know you're here with a young man who is coming up, and you're talking about the expansion of the legal. What is the responsibility of people like you? What should be the responsibility or should it be the responsibility of people like you to now take this new baby, the new constitution, which gives a lot of strength on the judiciary to mold other upcoming legal minds for the future of Kenya? Is this something you take personally as something that would be your legacy going forward?
I'm not very sure whether I understand you. You are saying the judiciary should now try to do their cases or to handle matters differently so as to leave a legacy.
There's definitely a shift.
Consistent with the spirit of the new constitution. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, because there's definitely a shift in the way.
Then let me, in that way,
the legal.
If that is your question, it's a very simple thing. The judiciary will have to live to the expectation of the people.
Right.
And the expectation of the people is very high at the moment. And any judiciary that cannot leave a legacy is not worth its salt. And I think it is now the duty of this judiciary that we have at the moment to make sure that it does not let the people down. Whether I'm in it or I'm not there, it is a challenge to the new judiciary. Yes.
Okay.
And from the time of the promulgation of the new constitution, I think that is the way forward.
Do you think there's a shift in mind?
There's a shift in leadership. There's a shift in the mind.
And the will?
There's a revolution in Kenya. That new constitution is a revolution in itself. If you read it, it's a complete departure from the old constitution. Things are going to be done differently. It's not going to be business as usual. The country is now in more or less a federal government. Each county is managing its own finances.
Okay.
The central government is doing very little. So things will have to be done differently. There is that personality cult of the president is not going to be there. He's going to be a figurehead. And the courts are going to play the rightful role in ensuring that things are done according to the law. And anybody who's not going to do that, even if it's a huge justice, I don't think he will survive. It is not the old business in Kenya. Things are going to be very different. It's already different.
And just the last question that I probably would like to know is, coming back to the Bashir case, what international ramification do you think it has had, both within the African concept or context and the larger international context?
You see, the Bashir case is very important for ICC because it is a case that could possibly show the effectiveness of ICC on the ground. On the side of the African Union, I think it is a case that is going to destroy the myth of the African Union, that if you are a sitting president, then you cannot be arrested. I think all along they have been a wrong path because international law does not know. If you have international criminal or record, or if you breach international criminal law, then you are dealt with in the same way that you deal with any person. You cannot hide under the immunity of sovereignty, under the banner of sovereignty, or under the banner of diplomatic immunity, like they were trying to do. It was from 1919 that idea of diplomatic immunity, I mean, it doesn't hold sway any longer. 1945, after the Nuremberg trials and the Tokyo trials, all those officials that they were trying to hide under the banner of diplomatic immunity and head of state. Look at Slobodan Milosevic. He's trying to hide under immunity, and because he's the president of a country. It doesn't hold sway any longer. So for international law, all these dictators and people who breach the law in the name of being a president of a country or prime minister, I think their days are gone.
Okay.
So it has got a lot of impact. And with regard to the national governments, I think it is now becoming very clear that if you are in a position of responsibility, then you cannot escape liability. You can run,
but you can hide.
cannot hide.
Good. And hopefully that becomes the standard.
Is the standard. The business in the international scene is different. It has changed. The international law and ICC, with ICC being in place, business has changed. It is not the same. And I think it is taking slowly. It is getting into the mind of the leaders, especially African leaders, and I think Latin America, people who have been floating the law, that they cannot kill people at will.
And get away
They are
with it.
being given an idea that if you are looking after people, if they give you the trust to look after them, then you should look at them responsibly. You are not supposed to murder them. I mean, just like in the Bible, if you're a shepherd, you don't kill the cows or the sheep. I mean, you're supposed to nurture them. You don't butcher them.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be paradigm shift in the thinking of the powers that be. There must be. And to people who still think they can kill their subjects, I think they're living in another world. I think it's Alice in Wonderland.
What is the chances that in the upcoming election
There'll be no trouble.
there'll be no trouble and that the police especially
There's-
will not be used the same way they were used in the last?
Patrick, depending on the decision of the pretrial chamber in another few days, the Kenyan scenario is going to change dramatically. Nobody is going to endanger the life of others just because he wields power, and nobody will be allowed. I do not think, even if you don't hold power, even as a private citizen, it's not going to be easy to do what happened in 2007, 2008. So both people in power and those citizens, they have to think differently. That decision which is going to be made in the future will make them think differently. I think there's going to be a change in Kenya for the better. That is my own view of things. People have realized that irrespective of your position, you commit crimes under the ICC treaty, genocide, you kill people because of tribal affiliations, or race, or creed, then you are subject to international law. In fact, Kenyans are realizing that international law is much bigger than the national law. Who would have thought that those 6 people could be in the ICC being tried?
Well, that was...
it's a shock.
It's a shock, but there was a lot of back and forth until it happened.
Back and forth, it can be 100 times,
right.
But eventually it will happen. The wheels of justice grind very slowly, but exceedingly fine.
Right. Thank you very much, Judge. This was a great honor. I'm deeply honored that you gave us the time to sit down with you and talk about these various issues. And you're the champion of the law. And we look, I think a lot of Kenyans are looking to people like you to ground that change in the shift in mind of people. Thank you very much.
I think we need everybody,
yes.
Not only judges.
Everybody. Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you very much for those that watched. And we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Mwenyezi Mungu aibariki Kenya yangu, kwa jina la Baba na la Mwana Roho Mtakatifu, amina. Kwa jina la Baba na la Mwana Roho Mtakatifu, amina. Ewe Kenya nchi yangu, ewe Kenya baba yangu, ewe Kenya mama yangu, sitakuacha milele.